Okay, ladies and gentlemen, so um, I was running an experiment. I wanted to know which of the app or the ride sharing apps paid the best for distance. Normally they would give us their own quotes. Yeah, we charge the the riders some 142 per kilometers or whatever, and things like that. But I just wanted to check. So I checked what the amount was, booking from one particular location to another location on three of these apps, and I wanted to compare the prices just to be sure, right? And of course, that's going to help with trying to understand which app will pay you better. Now, I did on three apps as opposed to four, and I'll explain that later. Now, the first app I did with was Boat, and I also used a location where there were no such, or at least to the best of my understanding at the time of making this experiment, there was no such in that area. So, when I tried with Boat, the amounts that came up, ignoring promotions and things like that, was 3,100 naira. I tried it with Uber, 2,900 came up. I tried it with InDrive. InDrive gave me 2,600, right? I didn't try Rider because I think the Rider app on that day was having some kind of glitch, because Rider was showing me 4,700. I was like, maybe it's picking up some kind of surge in the same area, so I couldn't include it. But those were the quotes. Now, from indications, it means that the Boat app pays best. All right. Uber released a quota the other day, or some notice the other day, saying that they were going to charge the riders more in the weekend, so Saturdays, Sundays, just a tad more than they would on a weekday. At the time of making this experiment, mind you, it was a weekday, so it may have been a factor, I don't know, but this was just my finding. Now, apart from this, I tried to just to verify, just to make sure. I checked from a very different location. This time I went from Maitama all the way down to the airport. Let me see which app pays best going to the airport. And ironically, and not that ironically, but well, Uber came up as the first, because Uber was taking somewhere around 10,500. Boat was taking in the areas of 9,000 something. InDrive, terrible as they come, is somewhere around 5,000. And then Rider is in third place with 6,000 something. All the same location, all going to the same direction or destination. And these are my findings. So it's safe to say that if you're not on Bolt, which is the priority app based on this experiment, Uber is your next best choice. But then again, there's something to consider. You need to take water for this one. Wait. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the next thing we have to consider is this. In the last, I think it was the last two videos I made, where I made an analysis or a breakdown of how the fuel consumption of each cars per 100 kilometers. Now, let me further buttress on that. What this means is, for instance, I'll take the Corolla as a case study. In my video, I think I pointed out that the Corolla consumes around 6.5 liters of fuel for 100 kilometers. 100 kilometers is quite long. So, just to further buttress the point, just to further explain to you just how fuel conservative your car might be, this is an experiment. Now, if 7 or 6.5 kilometers is being used for 100 kilometers. Per kilometer, it means that, or rather per liter of fuel, per 1 liter of fuel, your car will have to drive for 15 kilometers before 1 liter of fuel exhausts. You don't even, okay, maybe you do. But I feel like I'm not getting across to you. How much is 1 liter of fuel? 670, 60, 17, something. But I want to believe that there is nobody that buys fuel beyond 700, irrespective of where you buy it. Okay? So let's use 700 for instance. This means you need only 700 naira fuel to drive for a distance of 15 kilometers. Now, to further explain how far 15 kilometers is, if you're in Abuja, I'm sure you know Gwarimpa. If you know Gwarimpa, there is only one KFC in Gwarimpa. It's in 4th Avenue. It's very close to the Express. KFC, not Chicken Republic, KFC. The KFC, from that very point, I checked this, by the way, from KFC straight down to Beggar roundabout is exactly 15 kilometers, give or take. Exactly 15 kilometers. Now, with 700 naira fuel, you can drive from KFC in Gwarimpa through the express, yeah, and then all the way to Beggar. That's when 700 naira worth of fuel exhaust. 15 kilometers. Having this knowledge, now this is the next one. Let me then further explain to you how you can calculate your profit. So I made a rough estimate here. Give me a moment. Okay, so if you drive from, or if you check the price from KFC Gwarimpa 4th Avenue all the way to Beggar roundabout, the price that came up when I checked was 2,400. Now let me make a calculation for you. Inside 2,400, you're going to take out a commission of 20%. 20% of 2,400 falls around 480 naira. If you minus that from 2,400, I think you get somewhere around 1,920. Okay? That's the profit boat gives to you. Now you want to subtract the amount of fuel you just used for that distance, which according to our calculation, 15 kilometers equals 1 liter of fuel. It's actually 15 point something, but it's below 5, so we just keep it at an estimate of 15. Okay, if you want to subtract the amount of fuel you use, let's say it's 700. You probably bought it for cheaper, but let's say 700 for the sake of the video. If you subtract 700 from 1,920, I believe you'll be left with 1,220. That is your actual net profit after you've removed fuel, after you've removed commission. What you're left with is 1,220 naira. That means you drove from Gwarimpa to Beggar roundabout for a net profit of 1,220 naira. Here's the twist. You know how InDrives work, and I think Rider too. InDrive has got to be the worst, according to my own metrics. And the reason is simple, is because these customers will always go for the lowest and most ridiculous prices. Yeah? That being the case, this is what happens. Whenever you book, just like the airport price, every other app was showing us something. I think the list was the Rider, which was around 6,000 something. But InDrive went down to 5,000 something. But the twist is this. InDrive has no commission. So when you calculate with InDrive, all you're calculating is fuel. If you went from Gwarimpa all the way to the same place, KFC in Gwarimpa, all the way to Bega roundabout, I think the price that came in InDrive, let's say for the sake of argument or clarity, I don't know, for the sake of whatever the bloody hell we want it to be, we just call it 2,000. Worst case scenario, InDrive took 2,000 for that distance. Alright? Even if you just minused your fuel of 700, do you realize that you actually made more than if you had ridden on boat? It's weird, but there's some truth to it. That is to say, InDrive actually understand their business model in that they know that if they kept their price at the place where they've kept their price, that the driver who actually makes a proper calculation would know that they are actually earning more using InDrive than the people on boat or Uber. Because see, there's a psychology to this thing where you just see the price and you feel like, that's good, let's go. We'll get 3,000, we'll get 5,000 from this trip. But then when you've added minus and plus and everything, you then realize, not so much. But with InDrive, maybe so much. I hate InDrive. I'm not gonna lie. I don't even use InDrive. I'm even managing to use Rider, but Rider has come up with their own commission payment. Well, it's not bad, but it's just an availability of customer thing, That's what I'm going with. So make this calculation sometimes for your own sake, for your own understanding too, so that you can better know which app pays you best, to be able to use them. Now, mind you, I said the distance, of 15 kilometers equal to 1 liter of fuel. This is subjective. It's not a very general rule, okay? Because your car, the consumption or the fuel consumption of a car is dependent on so many other factors. Your fuel injector could be dirty, it could need replacement. Your spark plug misfiring could also be a factor that causes more consumption. The dirty air filter could be a factor. Low tire pressure, like there are some other things that could make your car consume more fuel than it's supposed. Alright, so when I give you these figures, it's just meant for, presumably your engine is sound and everything is blessed. So I don't know what you're supposed to do with this information actually, but I hope it's helpful. It helped me, and because I like to calculate these things a lot. I don't like to walk blindly. I just need to know that it was worth my time, things like that. So, bye-bye.